Hi, I'm Tiffany Howard, and this is How to Stop Being Your Mind's Puppet. What do I mean by that? Well, many people, including me, and it's a practice, listen to what our mind tells us about ourselves, about other people, about a situation, and it's not true. And when we listen to our mind, we create the suffering in our lives. Again, let me repeat that. When we listen to what our minds tell us, we create the suffering in our lives. Because most of what the mind tells us is not true. It's false. The most damaging things that we listen to is when our mind tells us we're not good enough, we're not lovable, we're not worthy, we're not valuable. When our mind tells us ugly things, like we're too fat, or we're too skinny, or we're a failure, along with those other things that I've mentioned. We're not good enough. We're not worthy. We're not valuable. All those things are not true. All those things are unloving, and as I said, ugly. So why would we believe our mind when our mind says those things? Because it's become a habit. It's a practice. See, our minds are archaic. They're outdated. They're old. We have to upgrade our minds. And the way to upgrade our minds is to feed it with new information. But you have to commit to feeding your mind with new information. And what's the new information? I am enough. I am worthy. I am valuable. I am beautiful. The way I am. I am smart. I am a success. I am loved. I am loving. I am kind. I am amazing. I am magnificent. So how do we stop being a puppet to our mind? We have to practice it. Every time a thought comes in, ask yourself, is it true? If it's not true, say next. Tell your mind, next thought. Tell yourself it's not true. And let it go. And like I said, you have to be committed to that. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm still practicing it. Every time a thought comes in and I know it's not true, I kind of get a smirk on my face because I know my mind is trying to pull my strings. And I will not have my strings pulled by something that I'm the boss of. You are the boss of your mind. You're not a victim to your mind. You can tell it to stop. You can tell yourself, I'm not going to believe everything that it says, especially if it's not true, especially if it's keeping me down and not uplifting me. You don't have to believe it. When you believe what your mind tells you, you create your suffering. Your suffering doesn't come from your feeling, oh, I'm sad, so-and-so did this to me. That's not creating your suffering. It's your thinking about it, your thoughts about it is creating your suffering. Think about that. You don't have to believe what your mind is telling you. You see what happens? Someone says something about you. Tyffany, I've heard this. Oh, you're too skinny. So then my mind starts thinking about it. I'm too skinny. Am I sick? Why am I too skinny? Am I supposed to look a certain way? Why would they say that about me? Is something wrong with me? Nonsense. You see, that's how it starts. Someone plants a seed, a nasty little ugly seed, and then you water it, right? And give it sunshine by thinking about it. You're growing it, and then it becomes a huge, huge black cloud. And then what happens? You're looking like this. You're walking around like this because you believed words. And then the thoughts, the words turned into constant thoughts, torturing yourself, when you just could have stopped it by saying, okay, that's their opinion, has nothing to do with me. Why am I believing this? Am I feeling like I'm not enough? I'm not worthy? I'm not valuable? Is it true? If it's not true, then why am I believing it? Why am I putting my energy into believing it? When another thought like that comes into my head, I can just say, next, and not give it any attention, right? I can tell myself, it's not true, it's false, and throw it out. We're not garbage cans. We don't have to collect garbage. And that's garbage. Stop being a puppet to your mind. I've given you some things to think about. I've given you some suggestions on how to stop being a puppet to your mind. Remember, you don't have to believe everything that you think about, especially if it's not for your highest and best. Thank you for your time. I love you. Spirit loves you. Namaste. Namaste.